Today is Friday, May 8th. We are at the home of Luther Guitar Jr. Johnson in Wildwood, Florida. Luther is gracious enough to talk with us this afternoon, tell us a little bit about his life and his career, where he started, what he's doing, where he wants to go. Good afternoon to you, Luther.
How you doing, Mike?
And certainly appreciate you taking this time to sit down on a Friday afternoon. It's actually kind of nice out today.
It is.
And you know, one of the first things we've got to do since the virus thing has happened, but you know, the music is still going strong. I guess let's go back a few years and maybe tell us how, first of all, you come up with the name Guitar Jr. and moving from the south to the north.
Well, I start talking about the South first. I was born in Ada Bena, Mississippi, and we moved from there up to a place called between Greenwood and Clarksdale, a little place called Mentor City. So that's where I was raised up at mostly.
How far from Clarksdale is that?
I say about an hour.
Okay.
Maybe not an hour, depending on how you're driving.
So tell us a little bit about your childhood and growing up in Mississippi before you left.
Well, growing up in Mississippi, my father was a farmer, you know, and I would pick cotton, chop cotton, you know, and I used to herd cows, you know, 3 head of cows a day. I used to take care, you know, degrading on, you know, grass and stuff. And I went to church. I had to go to church and Sunday school, you know. And name of the church was New Hope Baptist Church. And I started singing in the choir. My mother and my sisters and my brother, we all were singing in the choir. I was the leader of the choir. And I made it, my first guitar, I made it on a board with 3 strings on it. I could use a Coke bottle, you know, and do 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 do. And the first song I started playing on was I'm gonna lay down my long white road down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my long white road down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study the wall no more. And I learned how to play that with my, you know, little guitar I made.
And that was the first song you learned how to play.
Right.
Wow, and that song still today.
It is.
It is a relevant song.
Yeah. I got my first real guitar, I think I was about 12 years old. About 12, I know I was going on 13. And I told my mother if she buy me a guitar, we'll play with Muddy Waters one day. And she said, oh, you never play with Muddy Waters. And she bought me a little old Stella guitar, you know, the name of it was Stella. And I got to mess around with it, you know, trying to play it. And my uncle, Arthur Johnson, he could play guitar, you know. He played at Saturday night fish fries and, you know, people's homes and things. I was a little boy, he used to take me around with him. I hadn't forgot that, you know. And he would give them dimes, nickels and pennies and things. I said, well, I want to do that one day, if I don't want to make more money than that, you know.
So and this was in the 1940s?
Yeah, when I was I was born in 1939. Yeah.
Okay, so right around 1950 maybe.
Right.
And
It's in the 40s, you know.
Did any of what was going on in the world at that time, I mean the Second World War, did any of that affect your life where you were living and growing up?
No, it didn't.
Just something...
My uncle, my dad's brother, he went to the army. He was in that army, you know. His name was Shelton Johnson.
And back then, Muddy Waters was already a name.
Muddy Waters, my mother had one of those wound up, record players, you know.
And there's 78s back then.
78, they're what they were, you know. And she bought that record about Muddy Waters, Baby Please Don't Go. And every morning I wake up, that record would be playing. Muddy Waters saying, "Baby, please don't go back to New Orleans. You know I love you, son." And so, I played it all the time. And I said, well, I told my mother, I said, you buy me a guitar, so I'm going to play with Muddy Waters one day. And she said, oh, you never play with Muddy Waters.
Well.
And, and I kept on playing, around until I got up age. I was growing up, and I had my own spiritual group. We were the Spirit of Mental City, the little town we lived in. And we used to go to churches and things, different churches and things, singing, I had there's 5 of us, in the group, singing Apollo,
And this was a spiritual group?
Yeah, spiritual group.
When did you start playing the devil's music, blues?
Well, I was playing it all the time, but I couldn't play it. My mother when she leave the house, I would play it, but she didn't want me to play the devil music, And when she would leave the house, and my friends come over, I get my guitar out and dancing and doing everything,
That's that seems like how it was with a lot of folks back.
Back then,
that the blues was always the type of music that touched you, but you weren't supposed to play
right.
it.
Mm-hmm. Muddy Water, B.B. King, and Little Milton, all those guys, were playing back then. Bobby Bland,
When did you start playing blues? I don't want to say professionally, but playing out or playing in front of an audience.
When I moved to Chicago, 1958. Me and Buddy Guy, I came out, Buddy Guy, I think, we just about came to Chicago at the same time.
And Buddy Guy was from Louisiana.
Uh-huh, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Did you have a lot of interaction with Buddy when you went to?
Well, I used to go see him play, talking about that guy from Louisiana, Buddy Guy, I had to see him, he's playing, and I used to like to hear him play,
When was the first time you actually met Muddy?
I met Muddy I shook his hand in 1955. Muddy and them did a show in Memphis, Tennessee, at the Goodwill View, place where he played at. And Muddy walked out on the stage with a yellow suit on, and hollered, 40 days, 40 nights, since my baby left this town. And I fell in love with that song, And I said I was working on a plantation, I was driving a highboy, that's a spring cotton, the boat, things set high, but I could carry 4 rows, And I was working for that guy, named Archie Stedman, was his name. And he liked me, because he liked the way I worked and everything. And my older sister, she was in Chicago, and she needed a babysitter, She wanted me to come babysit her wife for her. So I went to Chicago, and I thought babysitting for her. At a young age, when old enough to go to no tavern, club, or nothing. But while she was living there was a club next door to her. We called it Rock and Roll Inn. So I would go down there, put on a false mustache, and stuff. So I met the guy I was playing, his name was Ray Scott. He had his band,
Did that mustache fool anyone?
A while. Then they found out I wasn't old enough, I had to go out, So Scotty Rock and Roll Band, that was the name of it. So I started singing and dancing with him, in his group. And then he said, I want you to play guitar. I said, well, I can play a little bit. I don't know too much about, playing to a crowd. He said, well, I'll teach you. He taught me with his mouth. To play like this, do 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 do, and that's what I was doing on my guitar.
Okay.
And I said, he said, well, you gonna be good enough. I ain't gonna have to have no guitar. You gonna be playing. He said, keep on doing what I tell you with my mouth. And I kept on doing it, kept on doing it, kept on doing it. and tell him. He said, "You ready?" And I got on the stage with that guitar man in Chicago, going to those different clubs and things, and it drove them nuts. I was walking all on the bar, drinking people's whiskey, and that was, I always had some entertainment. When you're entertaining, I played to entertain the people.
Right.
And, and that's where I started out. Well, I used to play all out in the parks, people basements, people behind me. They gave me the name Luther Guitar Junior Johnson.
Yeah.
They used to have 40 people walking behind me singing with me. We go all downtown to the bus station and stuff. They right with me, all out in the parks.
So when was the first use of of Guitar Junior? How did that first?
Well, they started calling me.
They started calling.
Mm-hmm. And so when I started my band, well, see, I had 3 names before I went to Guitar Junior. I had Black Junior, Little Junior, and then I got Luther Guitar Junior Johnson. Now I quit Muddy Band.
How did playing with and joining Muddy's band come about?
It was something, man. I worked in a steel mill, I drive them overhead crane, steel mill, pouring, I drive the crane, pouring the steel. I wasn't pouring steel, I had to take the steel with the crane to the peoples on the floor. And Calvin Jones, him,
Mm-hmm.
Muddy bass player. We were going with 2 sisters. His name was Mary and Martha. He was going with Martha and I was going with Mary. So he told me, "How would you like to play Muddy Water?" I said, "You think Muddy hired me?" He said, "Sure. You need a guitar player now." He said, I'm going to tell him about you, I said, "Okay, well, you tell him about me, and have him to call me. I'll call him one, That's what I told Calvin. So he said, "Okay, Muddy called me." "Guitar Junior." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I need a lead guitar." Hollywood Fat, I played, I don't know if you remember him. He was playing with Muddy before I did. Started playing with him. I was playing Hollywood Fat. He lived out in California. Muddy said, "I'm playing that." He told me we were playing that weekend. I never will forget it. So he said, "I want you to come and sit in with the band." So I'm going to do 2 or 3 songs, and I want you to come up.
Had he heard you before that?
No.
No?
Mm-mm. But I had my record, I had 45, I had to cut, my first 45. Been down so long, you got to have soul,
And the recommendation of Calvin.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so I walked in the dressing room and showed him my record. He said, "Guitar Junior." So I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I'm going to do a couple songs, and I'm going to call you up. The White Stable, a big place, that place was packed. So many people in Lansing, Michigan. That's where we were playing at. He got up there and played 1 song. So ladies and gentlemen, we got Luther Guitar Junior now, where people know me, I had been playing around there.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd went nuts. People, "Oh," and he clapping and going on, So we're going to call him to the stage. So he gave me his guitar. Muddy played with a slide,
Mm-hmm.
And a strange sound on the guitar. I'm thinking now, how I'm going to play Muddy guitar, And one man said, "Go on and do what you can with it. That's all you can do." That's all I could do. And the first note I hit, is on the floor.
Wow.
Muddy said, you just like he told me. The people dancing and hollering and knowing everything.
That was all through the 70s?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I played with him from 72 up until played 7.5 years with him.
And I know we've talked about this. I saw you with Muddy's band in 1978.
Right.
And Bob Margolin was
Right.
also in the band at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a tour with Eric Clapton.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Was Bob in the band before?
Yeah, Bob before I was. But well, not too long. Bob hadn't been there a week with him, I don't think. Bob probably had been a week there with him. Because Bob was living in Boston, And Jerry's in Chicago. Jerry Portnoy, he's in Chicago. And we joined the band,
And who else filled out the band at that time? You, Bob.
Pinetop Perkins.
Pinetop Perkins, that's
Willie
right.
Dick Eye Smith. Mm-hmm.
You listen to those names now, and every one of them is a legend in the genre, and to have had that dynamic together for those years, that must have been, I mean, even for you guys, must have been pretty special.
Oh, it was, man. We had a great band, you know.
Feel like playing something?
Well, I hit you one note.
Hit me a note?
Yeah. I feel sorry. Baby, you know I feel sorry over you. Yes, I feel sorry. Little girl, you know I feel sorry over you. A little boy, 12 years old, taking my woman away from me. This boy used to come to my house every day and every night. Yeah, you know this boy used to come to my house every day and every night. You know I didn't know that boy and my wife. I didn't know that boy and my wife could be so tight. Yes, if a young boy come around your house, you should do what I should have did. Yes, if a young boy come around your house, people, you should have did. Should do what I should have did. Yeah, you better let him go out and play and do things that a kid do. I got the blues, and you know the blues is here to stay. Yes, I got the blues, you know these blues is here to stay. If you don't know what the blues is, this guitar would never play. wake up early every morning with my guitar right here in my hand. People, I wake up every morning with my guitar in my hand. I have the blues for breakfast. And you know that's something hard to understand.
Thank you very much.
You're
for
welcome.
that. That's a nice sounding guitar.
Thank you.
We'll call it a day for right now.
Oh, yeah.
On this, and we'll do some more some other time. But I appreciate you taking this time with us on a Friday afternoon.
Thank you.
I guess we're good for right now.
All right.